Hey Raina, good afternoon. Thanks for joining, and let's have an interesting discussion. That's more important, right? Let me introduce you for the benefit of the viewers, and let me read out exactly the kind of value that you can add to this discussion. So basically, Raina K. Tandon is CEO of Right to Rise and CEO RKT Foundation, and she's also a POSH POCSO specialist and human rights expert from Harvard EDX, Thrive Global 100 Mentors, and UN Rex Karmveer Awardee 2019, Nari Shakti Awardee, and World Women Summit 2020 Global Ambassador for Sustainable SDG 5 UN Goals for Gender Equality, Inclusiveness, and UN Chartered Human Rights. 7th certified NVC specialist in India and has around 22 years of experience. And that's where we actually met. I remember Raina, we talking about NVC and nonviolent communication, and I know that you do it beautifully. And it'll be great to have your thoughts on this particular topic of women and safety in the digital space. I just wanted to quickly also tell you, Raina, so good evening again. Welcome again to this beautiful discussion. And thank you for being part of my hub, which is the Women's Self-Reliance Hub. One of the reasons why I'm doing this live is to sort of increase engagement, Raina, and I'm sure, renowned people like you will only help. And we can, of course, think of more things in the future in terms of having more panel discussions and things like that. So thank you again. Anything that you want to say, and then we'll move on to the actual topic. Thanks again, Raina.
So thank you very much, Preetha. I think you're bringing very formal comments. Don't worry about that. It's more than a pleasure to be around you on this discussion. I always believe that if you can make a difference in one life, that itself creates a big impact in everybody around. So it's always about reaching out to all those lives who really need you. It's not about early, later, sooner. Maybe it's all planned, and that's what God really wants. So if you and me are here, then we are here for a purpose more bigger, purpose more higher. And we just need to go with the flow and provide value. And let's see if we can create the maximum impact we want in people's life.
Sure. Let's move into, the topic. And before I sort of ask you about what you really do, I mean, in terms of, I know that you are a POSH trainer, and I would love to know more about that. And I'm sure viewers will also love to know more about that. I also want to ask you about, the hub, and how has it really benefited in you joining this particular hub, Women's Self-Reliance Hub. And as I said, it's also like sort of to increase engagement that I'm doing this FB Lives. Your thoughts on this, Rena?
A little bit about what is self-reliance is. For me, self-reliance is building in to all what you fear of. First of all, self-reliance is knowing and trusting that you will always be there for somebody. Somebody is always looking up to you. You're there to build them confidence. You're there to bring them their skills. So all that I look at in your hub probably is that life's best experiences, life's best skills that can be provided. We forget about the past, we forget about what's there, and then help them to create more opportunities. So when we build as a community, and when you are building as a community, the self-reliance hub to me is probably bringing in a lot of aspects of getting your trust within, and also an art of improvement that every day you're a learner for life. So becoming reliant is becoming independent, and you can only become independent when you start making the changes in your life. And changes can't be one time. You need to identify your goals, you need to find out your needs and goals will always keep changing with time, and then looking for people who can help you in that path. Maybe it's starting your business, whether it's meeting your goals, whether it's getting together and co-creating, educating people in the better practices, and also bringing in technology and other traits. So that's where I see the help of hubs, which are putting in so much effort. We're bringing in different expertise, bringing in people who are very, very skilled and very, very knowledgeable in their field. Of course, I'm working in the field of POSH, POCSO, human rights and stress, so I can probably help there. But there are other experts who come together, and when they are talking out, there are people listening to them, and they can apply so many other skills that you as an individual, as an expert, and many other people who come up to your hub and provide that to them so that they can rise. Yeah.
Yes, I beautifully said, Rana, because I think it's the day of collaboration. I mean, the digital space has just made the world even more smaller in that sense that, we can just call in people from anywhere in the world and have discussions with them. So there's Namita Kalugda, who's like given you a thumbs up, and there are a few people watching. So great. So let's just move on and I wanted to further ask you, this is the reason why I got this whole vision of helping 100,000 women become self-reliant is also based on, Ralph Waldo Emerson's definition of self-reliance, of being able to voice one's own opinion irrespective of social norms. And that's what he has brought the definition of self-reliance as. And I think that's very much linked to the work that you do, Raina, in
Yeah.
terms of POSH, right? So, how do you think that and this are linked? Can you tell us a little more? The two questions that I'm going to ask you. One is about your own success stories, and I'm sure you've been an entrepreneur. So, how has your journey been, your ups and downs? It'll be great to know about that, number one. And number two is a little more light on POSH and self reliance. How is the linkage? You were talking about that, right? So let's bring that as a second
Right,
aspect of
right. So let's take one bit at a time. So the first thing is that you bringing in the theory and saying that, as the person said, we need to. So you can reiterate the theory for me, so we can bring the linkage in for us.
basically to be able to voice your opinion irrespective of social norms.
Right. So now we bringing
Yeah,
the same aspect. Okay, if you
yeah.
look at the aspect of POSH, our POSCO, POSH is
Hmm.
basically a Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act. It's a
Okay.
legal act that Government of India has formulated not today but since 2013.
Yes.
And POCSO is more about prevention of child offences, sexual abuse.
Hmm.
So both these laws are laws and justice that exist in our society from very many years, and it's not that we don't have these what you call as violences occurring even before that or even now. Now,
Hmm.
how do we see playing the role there as a community leader, or as an enabler, or as a limitless enabler, what I call myself, is that many of us, I think 97% is what I can look at. 97% of us have undergone some form of abuse or unwanted, unwelcome gesture.
Hmm.
And that can be online, offline, for children, for women, for men, and for any gender. Now
Right.
that we've seen that, even otherwise, we don't actually talk about it, or we are
Yes.
just silenced out, we don't speak, we don't voice out, we don't bring it up, we don't even share it with people alongside to say, this is happening with me, and I'm stuck, I really don't know what could be the way out, can you help me? Because seeking help is one thing where people find themselves very, very vulnerable. They say like, oh my god, how can I ask for help?
Yes.
And I feel like, oh my god, how can you not ask for help?
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So when there is help available, how does the person know that you need help? I
Hmm.
mean, not everybody understands body language, not everybody understands non-communicative language, not anybody understands maybe your eyes or your face or your facial expressions, because not everybody is an etiquette coach, or not everybody understands your entire dressing or the way you look at, or maybe
Hmm.
you're upset or frustrated. So the best way is to either communicate, and if you can't communicate through voice, then probably through other mediums of maybe writing it through, speaking it through, tell a friend, tell a family, bring it up to the authorities, bring it up to certified professionals, talk to somebody who you trust. So
Yes.
all these things are a part of POSH system when we talk about a POSH compliance system, because we're looking at not only awareness, we are also looking at compliance, audit standards, creating the skill for the IC committee to help people like this who are normally out there, who
Hmm.
get affected either at workplace, or maybe there are people who are also getting attacked in the open space where they can reach out to other committees in the open. But this is where we see that resilience comes in, where the
Hmm.
courage, the self-reliance aspect which you're saying, that how do you trust, or how do you open up, or how do you
How do
reach
you
out,
voice? Yes, yes. How do you voice it?
how do you
Irrespective.
voice it?
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. So that's a spot on thing what you said. How do you talk it out? Now there is a very famous quote by Emerson, Ralph
Hmm.
Emerson, who says, I have faith in others, but do I actually have faith in myself?
Hmm.
Because we always say, yes, I trust you, and that's just a jargon. Okay, you don't
Hmm.
actually mean what you say. If I'm going
Hmm.
to say I trust you, I don't know whether I really trust you or not. If
Yes.
you trust that person, then you should completely do whatever he says with eyes open or closed.
Hmm.
That is the meaning of trust. If the person turns back and asks you, oh, can you just pay me maybe a 5,000 rupees or even a 500 rupees, all our trust goes down the drain.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know what
At
happens to
least on
that
the
PR
first
USD
case.
there.
Yeah, it
Okay.
depends, I think, when you ask that.
Yeah, it depends on Well, it depends on everything. It depends on the person, depends on the situation, it depends on who it is for. It's not individually for both of us, I'm saying. But I'm
Yes.
just generally putting it out that when we say we trust, then we should trust. But when we say we don't trust, then let's be open and voice it out. That is where the self reliance comes in, where we
Right,
say,
right, right.
what do we believe, what we are talking, we are putting it out. It's okay to say, I am not okay,
Yes,
but
yes, yes.
it's not okay to say I'm okay and then start sulking inside, because that doesn't allow you to bring out your maximum potential. And that is what you're trying to do, you're trying to
Yes,
bring in individuals who can help in
yes,
different sources, in different ways. Like, how would you also help unless a person is not going to come up? So in
yes.
POSH and POCSO, of course, Right to Rise is more on the business venture, and our foundation works on the social sector with CSR, NGOs, and all the people who can't afford the services on the higher end. But yes, we are working towards a place where we are available for people in case any abuse, harassment, anxiety, assault takes place in men, women, and children. And that is what we
Nice.
work with human rights, POSH, and POCSO. And
Very nice.
stress is another very simplistic thing which gets attached with any of them who are undergoing that, because that's where we bring in the other mindfulness and art therapy and dance therapy and a lot of therapies, including your NVC or any other stress related techniques, where we are trying to help the person who's undergone that situation so that he can be out of it. So not
Mm.
that we completely use it, but then we do have specialized people who are either psychologists, counselors, advocates, people who are working into this healing space, who can support us as an ecosystem. That's where we see all these people grow with each other and help each other. And that's what I
Good.
think even your hub is trying to do.
In fact, it will be very, very relevant for people in our hub because they're all women in my hub. Of course, there are a few men too. These are people who had bought my product when I was in a sort of a very initial stage. So I believe that it's man or woman, it is more about feminine energy, right? Rather
Yeah.
than bringing that out, rather than being a feminist. So there are a few men too, but primarily this is for women because, as you very rightly said, Raina, and we know we go through our own ups and downs in our lives,
Right.
and yeah, from the beginning you brought in that woman, man, whoever, probably transgender or whatever, whoever it may be, right? I think the work that you're doing is extremely important, and people should know that there is a supportive kind of a system like this available where when they're going through this kind of a situation, they have someone to talk to. It would be great. Even I would love to collaborate with you in that sense to, sort of help because the way we do work is in the coaching arena where, there are a lot of people currently I'm coaching, like a lot of women. One thing, and this is something you can probably, we can talk about. So the topic being women in the digital space and safety, one aspect that does come out in a lot of my coachings that I do is, of course, relationship management. That's something that every woman goes through that, I think, in some aspect or the other
There's
relationship.
some connection.
Yeah, some connection is there. So while I'm talking about digital space, I think what are your thoughts around this in terms of relationship management and POSH? Is there some kind of a work that you have done around that area where you can help people, if there are issues between
With relationship with a personal
husband and
person,
wife?
when we are online, I don't think husband and wife are online because they're always meeting each other all the time in the same room.
Yes.
So they are at home now. So we don't have an online space where they share, other than if so, both the husband and wife are working in the same company. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If they are working in the same company, then first of all, we have a lot of policies where some of the companies don't want both the spouses to be working in the
Yes.
same sector or in the
Correct.
same industry or in the same project.
Mm-hmm.
They might be working in the same company, but they may not be working on the same floor or reporting to the
Yes.
same manager and things like that, because we don't want any clashes with regard to work occurring in space of POSH and
Right.
sexual harassment. But if there's any other thing with regarding to relationship, that comes under domestic violence because it's nothing related to work or POSH. So
Okay.
anything that is not working out between a man and a woman, whether you are in relationship, whether you are married, whether you are live in relationship, or you do any kind of you're not bonding at home for some reason, then that
Mm.
comes under relationship counseling and under domestic violence. So domestic violence is not the aspect that I work for. I work
Okay.
only. So POSH is very restricted to all women who are abused at workplace. It's an
Okay.
act specifically meant for women at workplace.
Yeah.
So if only with workplace related. So that's where there is a narrow line that we demarcate and we say, right, this is in domestic violence, you should ideally go to a domestic violence lawyer.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so is there any other thing that you want to really add in terms of, the digital space and safety?
Cyber bullying and things like that, which you should
Yeah.
know and which you can let the other people know also. Number one, if you are a parent and if you have children, so any parents who are here now, they can be working women, they can be people at home. When you are online, either
Mm-hmm.
with somebody who you are not known or acquainted, or if
Mm-hmm.
your children are online with school space, with friends, with family, with people who they know as far off friends or relatives or anything, just make sure that they are in a safe space, because
Ah,
cyber is a very open space. The second thing is, what device are you using? Are you using a device that is commonly used by the child and the parent, or the adult and the parent? Because what happens is mostly passwords, bank passwords, protected passwords, your workspace passwords, your sites which are being browsed through. You might be browsing through a lot of work sites, but
yes.
if for some time you are giving it to your child to probably go on school, or maybe to play with a game, or to be with friends, or to be online, either on Google Meet, Zoom, or any of the other apps. But what happens is that it becomes very prone for the hacker who's online, if he's actually hacking you down, trying to
Mm-hmm.
find some credentials, that he could hack your personal credentials. Either he could go and do some identity hacking, which he wants to do on Facebook or Twitter, Instagram, or any of your social media websites, or if he wants to find out some information regarding to you, your work, or your workspace, or he would like to find out some in-depth secrets, or he would just want to hack down a child because he would want to do some kind of a pornographic intent, or some kind of another intent, which is hacking with children, where we have the POCSO abuse and other things coming in. Then it becomes very, very important for you to know what you should do when you are in cyberspace, when you're in online space, because now
Right.
everything is online, we don't have anything offline. So
Yes,
there's
yes.
no way that a person can attack your child or attack a woman or something outside, because you're always indoors. So
Right.
the only way that he can do is probably get into your personal space online. And when
Yes.
children are online also, you don't know, Preetha, basically, see, when children are together, you don't actually go and watch what they're doing all the time.
Yes.
You can't
Yes.
keep a watch also, that's totally impossible.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
So what we say is, if you can have proper devices, or proper apps, or proper constructive tools on your laptop or your phone, they either black out if somebody's trying to do some kind of hacking, or they
Mm.
completely become screen out, or they can be antivirus apps, or they could be apps where somebody's trying to get into for a payment gateway. Even certain messages that you get on Paytm, Google Pay, and all those things, where somebody's saying that if you click on this, then we will give you a lottery ticket, or we would credit you with a lot of amount because you won something. Or maybe getting a lot of emails where we feel that, oh, this is from the bank, but this is not exactly from the bank, because if you
Mm.
clearly look at them, they come from a very weird email ID which has been
I
hacked
see.
down, and they jump multiple LAN or WANs, because the network connection that is being provided by DNS server and all that keeps jumping. So all that we don't understand in depth, but if you understand a little bit of the IT background, you
Mm.
would know that there are certain things that we can keep a tab on, or maybe put a task list and say, if something like this comes, then what is the action to be taken, including your
Mm.
browser opening, or including some kind of a hacking site which opens up. And
Yes.
children will not know, where what to click and where not to click.
Mm.
Now, we as parents have to bring in that awareness. And for
Yes.
us to know that awareness, we need to sit on a cyber. We do a lot of cyber awareness. We do cyber security or cyber safety sessions, where we say
Mm-hmm.
what is right, what is wrong, for parents, or for educators, or for teachers, or for a lot of people who are online, who can be parents, educators, principals, or coaches and trainers, because they want to know how to keep their ecosystem safe. So maybe one
Mm.
of the days we can probably plan that out. But then, being
Yes.
on this online space, there's other things, is that it's not about clothes. Okay, even if you're in the best of clothes, or even in any of the cut of the clothes, it's about the mindset who's looking at you and having a corrupt mind, or probably. And even if somebody gets up and tells you something about the way you look, otherwise
Yes.
the best thing is to be covered in proper clothes which makes you feel or look professional, because you are there out for a professional aspect. You're not just there to have some fun when you are working into a company or into any kind of acquainted expertise. Okay.
Sure, sure. So, Raina, what you're basically saying is two things. One is you talked about the IT kind of technical
Anybody
aspects,
who's working.
bring that together and we can help people out, and
Yeah.
that is one aspect. And second thing, of course, you talked about is women, and the way you present yourself, the way you show up.
Yeah.
It's important that you that people know that you're doing something
True.
serious. It's not, and that you're
Because
professional.
people always keep talking about clothes, Preetha. It's not
Yes, yes,
about clothes. See, I
absolutely.
cannot tell you today, if I'm going to be doing a training today, a lot of POSH trainers who are out there, they keep telling, don't wear cut clothes, don't wear backless, don't wear this, don't wear that, don't wear shorts, don't wear. It's not about clothes, or it's not about you showing off some kind of a body element
Yeah.
that captivates another man. Okay, a man is a man, a woman is a woman. And if you have bodies, then probably people will keep looking at each other. But
Mm-hmm.
if you don't want to be looked at in a very unwanted way, then you should be bold enough to even say that, I guess you are making me feel uncomfortable. So it would be better if you don't make me feel uncomfortable, because this is not okay with me.
That's
But
a
till you
very
don't become vocal,
well. Yeah, yeah.
it's an open world. We do say don't do it. Like
Yes.
if we reflect back in our lives, even today, the more you say don't, the more people try and do it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
whether
Yes,
it's
yes.
children or adults. So why
Correct.
create a big balloon out of something and say, okay, don't do this? People are
Mm-hmm.
free and they know what is good or bad. If they are doing it constantly, then they probably are having that kind of a mindset that needs a change. And
Yes,
if you're
yes.
going to just tell them, they're not going to change overnight. It
Mm.
needs a reworking for a long time.
Yeah, Rena. So I really like the statement that you made, that the statement of you are uncomfortable about someone, better to say it that, hey, don't look at, I'm slightly feeling uncomfortable. Is there something that you want to speak about, or is there something that I can help you with, or what is it? So I think that is a very beautiful statement that you've made, because, many times we tell people that, hey, if someone is really doing that, ignore them, right? We've been
Yeah.
taught, when are growing up years, like for example, if there is some such kind of a harassment happening, what is being told as ignore, don't, but the problem is, I guess you will know better that, when there's sexual harassment happening, it could be with someone who's really close to you, right?
Yeah.
So if those are the kind of things that we need to deal with, then how do you deal with that? That is, I think, a separate session that.
Your scenario, I'll give you an example. I think that will make even the people out there and the viewers understand. Suppose you have a situation where there's you and there's another colleague, and there is an XYZ man. Now this
Mhm.
colleague is being watched at and she feels uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
the scenario is that, like you say, we have been taught, or we
Yes.
have never been taught to talk, or we've never
Mhm.
been taught talk we have never been taught how to speak up or ask or tell or things like this, which I keep hearing from a lot of people. Because in our ecosystems, basically our families have never taught how to deal with people or how to live life, but they have probably taught us science, maths, and everything that we all have been learning.
Yes.
But if we understand that we've not been taught, and we go by what you say, she's feeling uncomfortable with what the man is doing, and she just avoids. Now let
Hmm.
me tell you what the man will be thinking. The man thinks, okay, fine. So she's avoiding. That means it's okay.
It's
That means
okay.
she likes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that means she likes it. So I can do it one more time. Doesn't like it, then she'll probably say it.
It reminds me of the movie Pink. I mean, it was a wonderful movie, I think, and
Yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
you're leading, my thoughts are going to that when I'm talking to you.
Okay.
I think this,
Yeah.
what you've actually spoken is just the tip of the iceberg. I know you. Maybe
True, true.
someday we can do an elaborate one. It'll help
Yeah.
women in our hub for sure. And you're the member of our hub. Definitely, we can do something in a little more detailed way. Just talking about POSH. Any
Fine.
other thing that you think that women should know, especially in the cyberspace, because our topic is related to women in the digital space and safety. Any other one critical thing that you think we should know, apart from what you talked about technologies, and also sort of the way you show up and how professional we should look, that becomes important.
So most
Hmm.
people are more comfortable going online, maybe on Facebook rather than Instagram or on LinkedIn. And
Hmm.
LinkedIn and Instagram have become quite closely connected to how Facebook works, because we have been so much now online. Okay.
Right.
Uh, Instagram and Facebook work in the same way. Number one, people can easily hack you down because everything is very open, including your credentials, including your email IDs, phone numbers, everything, because Instagram shows it very much up as much as Facebook shows it. So if you don't want to be hacked down, and if somebody really wants to create a fake ID, number
Mm.
one, you should be changing your passwords every 45 days. That's
Okay.
every fortnight. A password can be changed, then it saves you from creating somebody else another ID called doxing. So doxing is a hacking methodology in which I can create Preetha and I can put somebody else's photo, or I can hack into Preetha's ID and then probably hack it and make something else out of it, or maybe change your entire content, or change your entire the way people know you, the way people look at you, or probably upload some kind of a weird looking photo which is going to hack your identity.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So that's called doxing. That can be done. So ideally, if you don't want to do that, or there are many other things that people can go online and do. If you're on Zoom and MS Teams and Google Teams and all those things, we say that if you are online from 10 to 6 or 10 to 7, and if you're okay, then you can switch on the camera, especially when you're doing some kind of a meeting or a training. But then meetings post 8:30 or something, you don't really need to switch on a camera. If there
Okay.
is a meeting, then can be
Mm-hmm.
incorporated at workplace.
Mm-hmm.
लेकिन आप घर पे हो and with family and friends and all, there's nothing that you need to really take care of. There are a lot of password protected systems, a way of probably having people in and letting people in and excluding people in and all that in all the apps. So every app is working differently. But with
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, Instagram, you can be very, very careful. There will be people even pinging and all that. You should
Right.
know that any of these social media websites have a feature called block, have a feature called report, have a feature like harassing, suspecting, fraud, please report, please put forward,
Yes, yes, yes.
write a
We've seen
mail, write, and please
that.
use those things, because those things
Yeah.
allow the government to understand that you have been hacked down once, twice, three times, and more than 3 or 4 times. Then they do track the ID. Cyber safety cells or government of India have cyber safety cells,
Yes.
cybersafe.gov.in. They track down these IDs and many of them, and they will keep you safe. Yeah, that's something that you should just keep yourself safe with. And if you are there more on that, then start using apps like StreamYard and Zoom and other things which go streaming not directly but indirectly. So they also
Right.
save the passwords on that app rather than putting it on Facebook. So
Mm.
they are good apps as well, and they are very
Okay.
easy to use.
Yes, yes, of course. So, in
So
fact, I must share one thing with you, Raina. This is about,
yeah,
in fact, I'm sorry, I don't know where you're based. You're based out of Mumbai, right?
yes, I'm at Mumbai. Yeah,
Yes, see, it doesn't matter anymore as to where you're based
yeah.
out of. So in Hyderabad, and I must share this with you, I'm based out of Hyderabad, and I must share this with you that the Hyderabad cyber police, they're really, really very active and extremely good at the job that they're doing. I don't know how many of them really know this, but I actually have some of my colleagues were, in fact, sharing with me of certain incidents that had happened in the cyberspace and how they took it up with the police department, and it went to the cyber police department, and they did an excellent job about this whole. They've tracked, yeah.
One of the best states in India, or the
Hmm.
topmost state which is more seriously working in the areas of harassment, abuse, and POSH and POCSO. Number one
Hmm.
is Telangana.
Yeah.
Number
Okay.
two is Karnataka. Number three comes Maharashtra, Noida, and Lord Gurgaon, and a lot of other places. So the
Hmm.
southmost cities are much higher in vigilance. Is what
Yes.
I should bring up to you.
Hmm.
Secondly, though I'm born and brought up in Chennai, and
Hmm.
I'm a North Indian, I still reside in Mumbai. So it's very interesting that I learn and I connect, because I kind of know about 12 to 13 languages. That helps me also
Wow.
connect with people across and feel like they are one part of me, and they know that I connect with them. So maybe that's
Wow.
something which makes me more unique also there. So if anybody wants to
Wow.
get in touch, I prefer talking in the language of their concern, because even though I am a North Indian, I'm born and brought up in Chennai, I connect very much with the language Tamil. And that really associates me from the place where I'm born. And
Hmm.
we can never forget the place from where you have emerged, because
Yes.
that creates the foundation from where you are.
Yes. Yes.
So
Absolutely.
yes, that's
Beautiful.
all about, yeah.
In fact, that is going to probably that's what is something that you do during your pastime. Maybe learn 13 and more languages that you've learned anyway.
I
I
don't
know
know.
4 to 5
I would
languages.
give the credit. I would give the
Yeah.
credit to all the people around me, including my parents, my grandparents, my husband. So because we've been traveling and all that, also it depends.
Yeah, yeah,
So
sure, sure. So, hey, so I mean, generally I do these lives for around half an hour, but it's great. I mean, we'll talk. It'll be good if you probably ask me, time for you to ask me one question, whatever the question that you want to. And
yeah.
then
So
we'll sort of move into a little bit of a fun thing. where I'll
Yes.
ask you some rapid fire questions and, talking a little more about yourself so that people know you a little better. That's also the intention of this, that in our own
Yeah.
hub, there's so many women. There are 600 odd women now today in my hub. I remember,
Wow.
Raina, I had started it off with three, probably my friends and family. Okay, to be very frank with you, I just, put in certain people, friends and family. Today, it's grown to a 600 thing. So I'm sure I
Wonderful.
want to sort of increase. And that's another question I wanted to ask you. How else do you think we can increase this engagement? And definitely, I'll bring you on where one day we can do, a session on POSH for sure.
Before you can ask me any more questions, I would love to hear you. And I would love to hear what inspires you to do all this work and how did your journey begin? Because it's so inspiring to always hear other women. Everybody has a very beautiful story to share. And I love to hear their story because there's something in them that has seeded to such a successful person today. So I'd love to hear what inspires you, Preetha.
Hey, Rena, so I really didn't think that I'll be doing this, very frankly. I was working in the corporate world, thankfully got an opportunity to work with big companies. But I think the usual woman ups and downs that you have in your life, I took breaks and I was not the kind of person who went back to work at 3 months after my maternity leave. I took a longer break because I felt that was more right. And we went out as a family. I came back, and I was trying to get back to the corporate world. I realized there's pay parity gap. People were not giving me the amount of money I was earning when I left the job, and so I was freelancing. I mean, I was not really intending to start a company of my own, but I really felt, as a woman, we go through a lot of ups and downs, whether it is physically, whether it is mentally, emotionally, especially after having a baby and things like that. And even if you want to take those steps, there is a lot of hesitation. If you want to get back to the corporate world or if you want to start something on your own, women themselves hesitate. So I tried to get back to Deloitte in the year 2018. I was working with Deloitte, and it was very, very tough for me to manage work and home. Let me tell you, I used to go 10:30 a.m. And come back 10 in the night. And what I'm trying to tell you is, I said, okay, why not I put this hours in something that I really feel passionate about? And then the digital space and things like that happened according, I mean, parallelly even that happened. So I took all quick decisions and I started making courses online and all of that. But my passion of helping 100,000 women came from, in fact, my business coach, Maua. It didn't come with one session. She helped me to get that vision out, and it was linked to somewhere my toddler days, where how I was treated with, when my mother brought me up. And there's so many linkages. And then there is also this whole thing that I want to give a break to my husband. Now I want, I want to work so that he takes a break. And there's so many such connections. I'm not sure if you.
It happens. I think all in our life is connected. In fact, I always believe that even two people meet because of a reason to grow more higher and more bolder and more confident, because there's so many other paths with meeting two people. So
Yes.
yeah, more power to you, and such a beautiful thing that today what you're doing is helping a lot of other lives just like us. Yeah.
To you too, Rena, and I'm surely we'll do something together. I think definitely will have you invite you again for a detailed session, and we can of course talk offline. So what
Absolutely,
else we
absolutely.
can measure?
Yes.
Okay, so great. So let's do a little bit of a fun stuff now, and
Sure.
so let's close it with some fun and some rapid fire questions that I generally do. So the first, I'm going to ask you these questions quickly, so and you need to answer it in a word, maximum a sentence. Okay, is that okay with you?
Absolutely. I'm
Okay,
on.
there's the
Let's go.
first question. So, what do you love doing when no one is around, Rena?
When
Learn
nobody is
quick.
around, so I don't know, it depends on the mood of the day, but I love listening to music. I'm also a dancer. I like to dance, but now with so many things on the plate, I don't get time for my passion. But I do work on my health, so I go for yoga, sometimes a Zumba class, or sometimes I'm meditating, sometimes I'm reading. So it's not one day, but music is my life. I really love listening to music because it brings back a lot of resonance to who I am and makes me feel grounded. At the end
Yes,
of the day, it's music that brings the pieces together
brings
for
you.
me.
Nice, nice. Okay, so what do you think of people who jump the signal when no one is around? One
Jump the
word,
signal.
maximum a sentence. Yeah, jump the signal when no one is around. So the time
Poetry.
is, huh? Poetry.
Yeah, oi teri.
Oi, teri, teri to. Okay, got it. Okay, so there you go.
No,
Third one,
I
food.
won't tell him stupid idiot Dumbo or something like that. I'll just say, oi teri. He
Okay,
has the courage to break the signal and run.
I know. Okay, so food and self-reliance, is there a connection? What is your favorite self-reliant food?
Self-reliant food. That's the first thing I'm thinking about now. Okay. I don't know what's my favorite food, but I like Chinese a lot, yeah.
Okay, is that a self-reliant? So that means Maggie is a self-reliant food, is it?
No, not Maggie. I like Chinese. Chinese. I like any form of Chinese food. I specifically like a lot of salad and a lot of soup. That's something that I feel very good about and very calm about. But I am a foodie and I'm a very good cook also. So we can't
Nice.
eat one kind of meal. If I make Chinese today, I'll probably make Thai tomorrow, or maybe in South Indian, or maybe a North Indian. So I love cooking because I have foodies at home.
Yeah, good.
My family loves a lot of flavor, and I love cooking that flavor for them, including any kind of starters. Like we have something like samosa and dokla today, so come over, we can have it together.
Sure, I'll fly. Okay,
Yeah.
so your favorite pastime, Rena?
My favorite pastime, I like to cycle, swim with my husband and my son.
Wow, nice. So
Yeah.
something similar that I
Oh,
love to
good.
do too. Okay, hey, so great. Is there something that you can showcase in terms of a talent? You said you seem to be very talented. You said you like to listen to music, you like to dance. Is there something you
So
want to
we can't
showcase?
dance now for sure. We can sing something. But you
Yeah,
really
you can
want me
see
to sing now?
in terms of a message that you want to give to all the women who are watching, maybe a song with a message, that will be great. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Okay. I don't remember a lot of songs, but yeah, I'll just sing this. I think it is Bhool Na Jana. I'm not sure.
Your time is ticking, Rena. Three,
Okay,
two,
let's
one.
just sing it.
Just sing it. Yeah,
भूल न जाना तुमसे कहूँ तो मैं इन आँखों में जो रहूँ तो तुम ही जानो या ना जानो मैं हूँ जानो या ना जानो तेरे जैसा दीवाना हम पाएंगे नहीं. So basically, this
Okay.
is for all the beautiful people there. Believe that you have some power in you and never stop, keep rising and तो रुकना नहीं, आगे बढ़ते जाना. आपके अंदर बहुत सारी क्षमता है. You have a lot of courage, grit and resilience to become beautiful and grow stronger and rise higher. And that is why I've kept the name of the company also Right to Rise, because I believe
Right.
that everybody has the right to rise. And
Yes.
yes, thank you very much for that.
Beautiful, beautiful, Rena. So, anyone wants to get in touch with Rena, of course you can, and do get in touch with me too. With I think Rena, you also have a YouTube channel, and do you?
So yes, you can get in touch with me on any social media and anything. Every place you'll find the name RIGHT number two RISE. So the website is RIGHT number two RISE.in. Otherwise, you can Google up for Raina Khatri Tandon. I'll share the Linktree link for you
Yeah.
on for to Preetha, and Preetha will share it on the website if
Yeah,
that is.
sure, sure. And
Yeah.
all you wonderful women there, you can also look at my YouTube channel, which is Preetha Balakrishnan, and you can subscribe for it if you have not. There are a lot of videos that I make related to whether it's fear or goal setting or left hand, because my work is really linked to brain science, and I'm master NLP certified. So of course, I also do coaching using brain science knowledge. So I think, hey Nana, so I think we should definitely collaborate. And thank you so much.
Really enjoyed it. I've just put it on the chat for you. You can always share it once it's done. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
for having me here, and I really enjoyed being with you, Preetha, and everybody who's there on the viewership. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you so much, Raina, for agreeing for this, and we'll connect more.
Take
Thank you
care.
so much. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.